Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to remove your old toilet and install a new one. So let's get started right away. I'm also going to be installing this line that goes from your water source to your tank. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to turn off your water source right here. Um, Usually just turn it to the right like that. It's turned off. And then you're going to flush the toilet to get all of the water out of the back of the tank here. You want to leave that open as long as you can, get as much water out as you can. Next, you're going to take a sponge and clean out the bottom of your tank here to get as much of the water out of there as you can. The only real reason for this is just to so that you're not spilling water everywhere. Next, what I'm going to be doing is a lot of these lines here have their own hand grip, so they don't require any tools. So you just loosen this line off of here, and then since I'm replacing this line, there's a bolt down here that I'll be releasing next. Unfortunately, I spilled a little bit of water, but that's fine. I'll just wipe it up with a towel. After you have this line removed, you don't have to remove it from here if you're not replacing that, but I am. After you have it removed from here, you're going to be removing, basically this is the float. Well, even though it doesn't look like a float, this is the new floats that they use. I already replaced this, so I know that this one's good. I'm going to be transferring this into the new toilet. So for this one, normally it has this little line here that goes down the center, and it's normally hand tight here at the bottom. You don't really use any tools there. The old ones you might be using different wrenches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place a bucket under it to catch some of the water because I couldn't get all of the water out of the back of the tank. So next I'm going to be removing the float apparatus. After removing the float apparatus, the next are these two little screws down here that are going to be coming out, and basically those are just on the bottom of the tank here. They're just right under here. I'm not sure what size they are, but you're going to need to use an open hex wrench to get those off. So next you need to take those two bolts off. I ran into a bit of a problem trying to get the back tank off here. Inside here, those two bolts are actually flatheads, and then it's a 13mm wrench underneath. The problem is that it seems to be rusted on there. The only real purpose of taking the back tank off, though, is if you're just throwing it away like we are, is basically just to make it easier to get off and lighter. So it's not necessary. So we'll just move forward and see if we can make it work with that on the back. It would just be harder to move. So the next thing that you're going to be doing there's the two bolts on both sides of the toilet, and those both need to be undone. So another problem that popped up with the toilet is that those side bolts were rusted on as well. And as you can see here, the bottom flange is rusted pretty good as well. So I don't know that we'll be able to reuse this. I might have to go out and get some more parts to put the new toilet in. So anyways, when you're taking the toilet off, just be careful. There is some water in the back, basically in the back of it. That you either could have gotten out of the toilet bowl with a sponge that would help it, or what I did was I just lifted it up and put it into the tub and dumped all the water out there, because it's clean water because you flushed it a couple of times since it's last been used. But anyways, just be careful. You might spill water everywhere. So next, what you're going to be doing is you need to clean all this up. You're going to want to clean the ring. A lot of people will use some silicone to put a good seal around the toilet. So you want to clean that because not every toilet is going to have the same exact bottom there. So you don't want that showing through. You're also going to take the wax ring that's right here and just throw that away. You should either get one with a new toilet or buy a new one. I think the ones with the rubber gasket on the inside that you can see right there, I think those are best. So be sure to buy one like that if it doesn't come with the toilet already. So yeah, that's the next thing. You're going to be cleaning all this up, and I might have to look into getting new parts because the bolts that hold the toilet down are completely ruined on the old toilet, so I can't reuse those. And it looks like where those bolts connected in here looks pretty rusted through, so I might have to replace some parts. So like most projects, this required a trip to Home Depot because I was so rusted out. So what I bought was this, and this basically just latches around the bottom here, and we'll replace that old rusted out one. Be sure to measure it. There's different sizes for these piping. So after cleaning this out, I'm going to reattach this and we'll go from there. So I got these bolts all tightened. These are the bolts that the toilet is going to screw down onto now. So next, I pulled out the bottom of the toilet, flipped it upside down. I'm going to be putting the rubber gasket on it like this. And then once that's on, I'm going to flip it right side up and then smash it on here onto where the toilet goes, line up these two bolts, and then you're going to smash it down to make sure that the wax kind of settles in place where it needs to be to get a tight seal. So this was probably one of the most annoying parts, was when you put it in, it has to be level. So you just rock it back and forth to make sure it doesn't wobble any direction. What I had to do was I used a bit of paper under it, or cardboard. So I'm just going to cut that so that I can use some silicone around it. And then when you tighten these bolts under here, it actually tends to help level it a little better. So just make sure that you have a good seal with that wax between the sewage pipe and the bottom of your toilet. So next, what we're going to be doing is putting the back tank on right here. So this will all be dependent upon the toilet and the directions that you're given. So again, with the toilet tank, you're going to want to tighten it on here. I had 3 bolts, some of them are 2. You're going to want to make sure it's level when you put it in. This toilet actually came with a brand new float system, so it's already all set up. I just need to adjust where I want the water level to be right on this. And then next, you're going to put this back on. Most of them are 16 millimeter bolt right here. I reattach that. And a lot of them are by hand now, so you just reattach it back onto the toilet right here. So after I got the water supply reconnected, I'm basically filling the tank here, turning it all back on so the toilet works. And while doing that, I'm flushing it a couple times, checking for leaks around the tank. I'm not finding any. Check for leaks around the entire bottom of the toilet over the next day or two. And then next, we're going to put on the toilet seat. And we're pretty much finished. Just put the toilet seat and lid on. It's usually just a bolt up top. This one caps off. Bolt up top and a bolt on the bottom. So anyways, that's pretty much it. And then, of course, put the lid back on. All that's left to do is to clean up this huge mess that I've created. So hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching.